What's up guys, Cliffhanger here, and this is an in-depth video for a very beginner, your first guitar lesson if you will. So if you are an intermediate player, an advanced player already, this might not be the video for you, but if you are just wanting to get into guitar, then this is a video on all of the basics, where to start, how to hold the guitar, some intro level chords, how to strum, how to pluck the instrument. My channel is typically guitar related content, gear, and stuff that I find out in the wild, but I wanted to pivot a little bit more towards the beginner. So let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. The first thing that I want to go over is how to properly hold the guitar. So you might see some guitar players hold a guitar like this. A lot of classical guitar players will hold the guitar like that. In this video, I'm going to be holding the guitar just like this with the curve right here on my right leg. And that way it is very comfortable. I can easily put my arm over the guitar and easily put my fretting hand anywhere on the guitar. It's very comfortable. Okay, you want the guitar to be comfortable, sitting comfortably. At first, it might feel kind of awkward, but as you do it over and over again, you will get used to that. For your fretting hand, you want to keep it kind of straight here on the neck, and you want your thumb to be on the other side of the neck. Now, this is gonna feel really awkward at first, but it's something that you're gonna get used to. So if you're down here in what I call the first position, you want your thumb to always be behind the neck here, and you want your fingers to rest comfortably. If you're up here, it's going to be the same thing. You just shift your hand up. Like I said, the guitar feels kind of strange at first, and you might have a tendency to kind of move your hand to the side just like this. And what I'm going to urge you to do is to try to keep your hand straight as you can. Some people have a technique where they might turn their hand a little bit like that, but it might make it easier as we start getting into faster little runs on the guitar if you keep your hand straight, because if you're angled like this, when I try to move my pinky up a little bit, it's a little bit more of a stretch and a little bit more awkward on my wrist. So you want to kind of keep that wrist straight so you don't get any weird wrist pain or anything like that, and it's easy for you to be able to just kind of glide on this guitar, okay? Whatever guitar you're playing. Now, I don't know if you're playing an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar at home, but it's gonna be pretty much the same premise as this. For the guitar pick, I typically hold my pick, now I'm questioning it, how do I hold my guitar pick? I hold my pick just like this. So my thumb is on the back side, takes up most of the pick, and my index finger has a firm, comfortable grip around the pick. And that way, when I pick on the guitar, just the tip of the pick is hitting the string. That way it's very comfortable. I'm not holding it with two fingers like this because that makes it much more awkward, and you don't have as much strength to hold the pick versus firmly grasped in between your index finger and your thumb. You have a complete grasp of the pick. Now there are a lot of different styles of picks, but most of the picks just look like this. It's like a kind of a rounded triangle, and that's what I recommend for most beginners just starting out, because that's most of the picks that you'll see out there. Now, what I want you to do with your pick is to start with one string. So just kind of start hitting one string. We could start with the high E here. And you might want to do that on all the strings. In fact, I would recommend doing that on all the strings, getting used to the sounds of each individual string. So when you're starting doing this, you might have noticed that I did all what's called a downstroke. So I'm just strumming down with the pick. You don't necessarily need to go up yet. You just kind of want to get used to plucking that one string, because the upward motion feels slightly awkward. It might feel kind of weird at first when you're first getting into it. You will get used to it in time, but for now, just the down is a good way to do it. Once you're used to that, you might want to go all the way down, do all 6 strings. Now go ahead and try to go with an upward motion on all 6 strings back up. and just get used to doing that a couple of times. Awesome. You kind of want to strum with your wrist. You don't want to move your whole arm up and down like an awkward robot at a party. Move your wrist like this. It's going to be a lot more comfortable for you versus going like this. If you put your whole arm up here, you have to bring your whole arm back down. The proper technique and a better way to do it is just in the wrist motion. And it will become more comfortable for you in time if you just do that. And quickly, I want to go over the string names with you because in the future, as we go through other guitar lessons, I'm going to be referring to each of the strings. They all have a name and a note that corresponds with them when you hit them openly. It's E, A, D, G, B, E. So it's E, A, D, G, B, E. And there's a lot of different ways to remember this. I usually make up something in my head to kind of remember it. The one that I've always done as a kid was eat at Denny's, get big eggs. And when I say that now in front of the camera, it's kind of embarrassing. If it helps you remember it, then that's awesome. I encourage you to come up with your own way of remembering it, your own little open string slogan, if you will. Whatever you can do to remember the string names. Now, I want to start to incorporate our fretting hand a little bit. This is obviously the hand that we're going to use to start fretting notes. So if I take my index finger and I put it on a note here, you'll hear the pitch of the note start to change. That's because we're changing the length of the string, resulting in a different pitch. So that note that I was just hitting is called an A note. It's on the 5th fret on the low E string. And what I want you to do is take your index finger and push hard in the center of that fret, and you'll hear the note start to ring through. Versus if you hit the string openly, that's an E note. Like we just determined, that string is the E string. When you hit it open, it's an E note. When you hold down on the 5th here, it's an A note, and it changes the pitch. Now, it might feel kind of weird at first. You want to kind of keep your finger straight as you can. You're not bending up or down, because if you bend up or down, it'll sound slightly out of tune. You just want to keep it straight. And get used to that. Now you can move it around to different frets. So if I go to the 3rd fret, which is a G note, you'll hear the pitch go down. Gonna be kind of awkward as you start to do that, but it's going to start to feel normal because you're just gonna do it over and over again. Because really what playing guitar is it's just building muscle memory, doing it over and over and over again. And I know that this part is slow, but it's a fundamental that you'll have to know in order to start to really learn how to play guitar. It's slow and maybe kind of awkward at first, but you'll thank me later. Yeah, my dog, she wants to come say hi. Yeah, you're okay, girl. Sorry about that, my dog. She wants to come say hi. So the next thing I want you to do is hold that note down and use your other fingers to hit notes after that note. If I am on this A note, I want to keep that index finger anchored down on that A note, but I want to now use my middle finger to hit the note after it. The whole time I'm keeping that index finger locked and loaded on that A note. I'm not lifting it up in any way. I'm keeping it there on that A note. And feel free to use other fingers as well, like your ring finger and your pinky as well. The whole time I want you right now to just be doing a downstroke as you do this. But keep that index finger locked down. And that's a really good exercise to kind of loosen your fingers up. In fact, the next thing I want to show you is an exercise where we're doing that, but we're going down all of the strings. This is a really good way to get your fingers kind of used to moving around on the guitar itself. So if we go to the 1st fret here, and we lock down that index finger on the 1st note on the guitar, that 1st fret, which is an F note, by the way, we're going to use all 4 fingers chromatically, which just means in an order. We're going to go all 4 fingers in an order, just like this. Move down to the next string, the A string, and we're going to start at the first fret, go all 4 fingers. And now to the D string, the G string, the B string, and finally the high E string. And now here's the part that you're gonna be like, wow, that feels really weird. We're gonna do the same thing and we're gonna go back all the way up. When you're first picking up your guitar, I highly recommend that you do this exercise. Try to get it as fast as you can, but accurate. You don't want the notes to be buzzing. You don't want your fingers to be awkwardly shaped. You don't want it to hurt in your wrist. Just kind of keep that wrist straight and start to do that and try to build some speed. All right, now that we have that exercise kind of down and we're pretty good at anchoring those notes, our fingers are feeling a little bit loose, it's time to move on to the next thing, and that is chords. A chord is just 3 notes. A good chord to start with is just putting your index finger on the first note on the G string. We're gonna hit the G, the B, and the E string, and it sounds just like this. Instead of hitting one note, we're gonna hit all of the notes. You want to get used to strumming using your whole hand, but again, don't be using your whole arm like this. It's just awkward and weird, and you're going to look ridiculous if you do that. Just in your wrist, just like this. All right, you can go slower. Start like this. And it's gonna feel kind of weird at first. Like I said, it's normal to feel like that. You just wanna get that muscle memory going, that sense of moving your wrist, just your wrist. And you wanna keep that finger held down on the G string on the first fret the whole time. And that is a chord. But let's move it on to a chord that's using multiple fingers. So this time, we're gonna take our ring finger and we're gonna put it on the second fret of the A string, and we're going to take our middle finger and put it on the second fret of the D string, and then everything else is going to be open, and that kind of just looks like this here. Okay? When I hit all of the strings moving down, this is called an E minor chord. And that is actually one of my favorite chords. It's an awesome chord. E minor is a wonderful chord. And again, what we're going to want to do is take those 2 fingers and just keep them held down on the second fret of the guitar. From there, we're going to take 3 fingers. We're going to take our ring finger, our middle finger, and our index finger. We're going to shift the chord down 1 string to an A chord. In order to do the A chord, we're going to take the ring finger and we're going to put it on the second fret of the D string. We're going to take the middle finger, put it on the second fret of the G string, and we're going to take the index finger and put it on the second fret of the B string. The high E string is going to be open. This sounds like an A chord. Practice switching between the 2. This is going to take some practice. This is going to require you to probably sit down for 30 minutes to an hour a day, just getting used to going like this. And those are your first 2 chords. The introduction to rock and roll right there, an introduction to guitar playing. So this is the first lesson. This is the first thing I kind of want to go over with you as just a very, very intro level beginning guitar player. You have to start somewhere, and I think that this is a great place to start. Just to recap, what we went over is the strumming pattern, keeping that wrist nice and tight, not moving your arm up and down. We went over some entry-level chords, which is the E minor and the A chord, which are great two chords to switch between. We went over wrist shape. Keep that wrist straight as you can and keep your thumb on the back side of the neck, in the center of the neck, and get comfortable with doing that. We also went over a really good finger exercise for just beginning, getting your fingers loose, loosey-goosey, baby, loosey-goosey. So just like this. And just keep doing that and we'll be well on our way into learning guitar. Be sure and check out these other videos I have if you're interested in, one, guitar pedals and gear, or some cool techniques for rock and roll. Now, I specialize in rock and roll and I play in a rock band, so you know a little bit what you can expect from me if we share similar styles or similar likes. Again, please like and sub, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.